There are moments in life when something invisible begins to shift, not around you but within you. A quiet pressure builds beneath the surface of your ordinary days, as if the universe itself is preparing you for something you were never told about. If you found this message, pause for a second and ask yourself something honestly. Why does it feel like your life has been leading you to this exact moment? Because what you're about to understand might explain everything you've felt for years. The isolation, the confusion, the feeling that you were meant for something different. And if this message resonates with you, then listen carefully, because something powerful may already be opening doors in your life that you cannot yet see. You were never meant to follow the same path as everyone else. From an early age, something about you stood apart from the crowd. Maybe it was the way you questioned things others accepted without thinking. Maybe it was the deep emotions you carried that others could never fully understand. While people around you seemed comfortable with the surface of life, you always felt there was something deeper hidden beneath it. And that difference often came with a price. You may have felt misunderstood by the very people who were supposed to understand you the most. Friends, family, even strangers sometimes looked at you as if you were too intense, too aware, or too different. But what they saw as strange was never a flaw. It was a sign. Because those who are chosen often experience life differently from the very beginning. Their awareness grows faster, their questions dig deeper, and their spirit refuses to stay asleep in a world that rewards silence and conformity. There were moments when you tried to blend in, times when you told yourself that maybe you were overthinking things, maybe you should just accept life the way everyone else does. But every time you tried to silence that inner voice, it came back stronger. That voice is not random. It is the quiet call of awakening. At some point in your journey, something begins to change. Situations that once made sense suddenly feel empty. Conversations start to feel shallow. And the life you once thought you were building no longer feels aligned with who you are becoming. This is often the moment when the awakening truly begins. It rarely arrives in comfort. Most of the time, awakening comes through challenges that shake the very foundation of your life. Relationships fall apart, plans collapse, doors that once seemed open suddenly close without explanation. At first it feels like loss. It feels like everything is falling apart around you. But what if those closed doors were never meant to hold your future? Because sometimes the most powerful redirection happens when the universe removes what no longer belongs in your path. The things you once depended on slowly disappear, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Preparation is rarely easy. The chosen are not built through comfort. They are shaped through moments that test their strength, their patience, and their faith in something greater than themselves. Think back to the hardest seasons of your life, the moments when you felt completely alone, the times when nothing seemed to go the way you planned. Those moments were not random chapters in your story. They were part of the training. While others were learning how to fit into the world, you were learning how to survive outside of it. While others relied on approval, you were forced to discover your own inner strength. And that strength begins to reveal something powerful. Because once you start awakening, the patterns of your life begin to make more sense. You begin to see how every challenge shaped your awareness. Every disappointment sharpened your intuition. Every betrayal taught you discernment. Slowly, you realize something important. You were never being rejected. You were being redirected. There are signs that appear when powerful doors begin to open in the life of someone chosen for a deeper path. One of the first signs is a sudden shift in the people around you. Relationships that once felt permanent begin to fade away. People who once had access to your life no longer feel aligned with your energy. It can feel painful at first, but this separation creates space. Space for the right connections. Space for the right opportunities. Space for the right purpose. Another sign appears in the form of intuition. Your inner voice becomes clearer than it has ever been before. You start sensing situations before they happen. You recognize hidden motives in people's actions, and you begin trusting a deeper wisdom that cannot be explained logically. This is not coincidence. It is awareness expanding. And as your awareness grows, something else happens that many chosen individuals experience. Resistance. When someone begins to awaken, the world around them often pushes back. Society is comfortable with people who follow predictable patterns. Systems depend on individuals who do not question the structure around them. But someone who begins to see beyond those patterns becomes difficult to control. This is why many awakened individuals face criticism, doubt, and misunderstanding from others, not because they are wrong, but because their perspective challenges the comfort of those who are still asleep. But here is something important to remember. Every visionary in history faced resistance before their purpose was recognized. Every person who walked a path of awareness was once misunderstood. Being chosen does not mean life becomes easier. It means your path becomes meaningful. And meaning always comes with responsibility. Responsibility to remain true to who you are becoming. Responsibility to listen to the deeper guidance that is unfolding within you. Responsibility to step through the doors that are beginning to appear in your life. Because here is the truth that many people never realize. When someone is truly ready for their next level, opportunities begin appearing in unexpected ways. Conversations lead to new directions. Small decisions lead to life-changing paths. Situations align in ways that feel almost impossible to explain. These moments are not luck. They are alignment. The moment your inner awareness reaches a certain level, life begins responding differently to your presence. The doors that once felt permanently closed slowly begin to open. Not all at once, but one by one. And each door requires courage. Because stepping into a new chapter of your life often means leaving behind the comfort of what you once knew. But if you have come this far in your journey, then something inside you already knows the truth. You were never meant to stay where you started. You were meant to grow beyond it. The challenges you faced were not signs that you were lost. They were signs that you were being prepared. And now something powerful is shifting. The question is not whether the doors will open. The question is whether you will be brave enough to walk through them. So if this message speaks to something deep inside you, take it as a reminder. You are not imagining the changes happening in your life. You are not crazy for feeling different. And you are not alone on this path. Sometimes the people who feel the most isolated are the ones standing closest to their transformation. But awakening is not meant to be hidden forever. At some point, the truth inside you becomes too powerful to ignore. So embrace the awareness that is growing within you. Trust the path that is unfolding step by step. And remember this, the doors opening in your life are not accidents. They are invitations. If this message resonated with you, take a moment right now and support the journey of awakening by liking this video, sharing your thoughts in the comments, and subscribing to Return to Awakening, so you never miss the messages meant to guide those who are ready to see beyond the surface of this world. There is a moment in every awakening journey when you begin to realize that the doors opening in your life are not random opportunities. They are responses. Responses to the inner transformation that has been quietly taking place within you for years. Most people search for change on the outside. They chase new environments, new relationships, new achievements, hoping something external will finally bring clarity to their lives. But for those walking the path of awakening, the change always begins internally. And once that internal shift happens, reality itself begins to respond. You may start noticing strange timing in your life, moments where the right information appears exactly when you need it, Encounters with people who say something that feels almost like a message meant specifically for you. Situations that once felt impossible suddenly begin moving in your favor. These are the subtle signs that something powerful is aligning around you. But alignment does not always feel comfortable at first. Because when powerful doors begin opening, they also expose the parts of your life that were never meant to continue with you. Old habits, old environments, old identities you once carried. And letting go of those things can feel like stepping into the unknown. The chosen often go through a phase where they feel like they are between two worlds. The life they used to live no longer fits them, but the life they are stepping into has not fully revealed itself yet. This space can feel confusing, even lonely. But this in-between space is where transformation deepens. It is where you begin to understand that your purpose was never about fitting into the structures built by others. Your purpose is about discovering the truth that was placed within you from the beginning. And that truth begins revealing itself slowly. You may notice that your tolerance for negativity begins to change. Conversations filled with gossip, jealousy, or shallow thinking start draining your energy. Environments that once felt normal now feel heavy and uncomfortable. This is not you becoming distant. This is you becoming aware. Awareness changes everything. It sharpens your perception. It allows you to see through illusions that once seemed real. It helps you recognize who genuinely supports your growth and who unconsciously tries to hold you back. Not everyone will understand this shift. Some people may even accuse you of changing too much. But what they are really noticing is that you are no longer operating from the same level of awareness they are used to. And growth often creates distance. The truth is, powerful doors rarely open for people who refuse to evolve. They open for those who are willing to step beyond their previous limitations. Every challenge you faced forced you to expand your perspective. Every disappointment pushed you to rely less on the world and more on the strength within yourself. And over time, that inner strength becomes impossible to ignore. You begin to trust your instincts more deeply than the opinions of others. You begin listening to the quiet signals of your intuition instead of the loud noise of the outside world. This is when life begins shifting in ways that feel almost surreal. Paths appear where there were once obstacles. Ideas begin forming in your mind that feel larger than anything you imagined before. Opportunities begin approaching you instead of you chasing them endlessly. But here is something most people misunderstand about this stage of awakening. Just because doors begin opening does not mean the path becomes effortless. In fact, the doors that lead to your true purpose often require the most courage to walk through. They ask you to believe in something before you can see the full outcome. They ask you to trust your inner guidance even when others doubt your direction. And they ask you to step forward even when the future still feels uncertain. This is the moment when many people hesitate, not because they lack potential, but because stepping into a new level of life means leaving behind the familiar. And the familiar, even when it limits us, often feels safer than the unknown. But those who are truly chosen for a deeper path eventually realize something powerful. The unknown is not something to fear. It is where your next transformation waits. Think about the moments in your life that changed you the most. They rarely happened inside your comfort zone. They happened when life forced you to grow beyond what you thought you were capable of. And each time you survived those moments, something inside you became stronger. That strength is the reason you are now standing at the edge of new possibilities. You were not meant to remain the same person you were 5 years ago. You were meant to evolve. And evolution requires movement. The powerful force opening doors in your life is not separate from you. It is connected to the growth that has been unfolding within you this entire time. Every time you chose awareness over ignorance, The door moved a little closer. Every time you chose integrity over convenience, the path became clearer. Every time you refused to betray your inner truth just to gain approval, another door quietly began unlocking. And now you may be reaching a point where the momentum of your journey is becoming impossible to stop. The doors are not just opening in small ways anymore. They are beginning to reveal possibilities you once thought were far beyond your reach. But with those possibilities comes a deeper realization. Your life was never meant to be ordinary. There is a reason your path has been different. There is a reason you were pushed through experiences that forced you to grow faster than others around you. There is a reason you never felt fully comfortable living the same predictable patterns that most people accept without question. Those feelings were signals. Signals that your journey was preparing you for something larger than routine existence. And the moment you start recognizing those signals, something remarkable happens. You stop asking why your life has been so different. And you start understanding what that difference was preparing you for. Because the truth is, the world does not change through people who simply follow existing paths. It changes through those who have the courage to create new ones. And every door opening in your life right now may be leading you closer to that realization. So pay attention to the shifts happening around you. Pay attention to the ideas forming in your mind. Pay attention to the quiet sense that something important is unfolding behind the scenes of your life. Because sometimes the most powerful chapters of our journey begin before we fully understand where they are leading. And sometimes the doors opening today are guiding you toward a purpose you have only just begun to discover. And as this journey continues, something even deeper begins to unfold within you. A quiet realization starts forming in your mind. You begin to understand that the doors opening in your life are not simply opportunities, they are responsibilities. Because awakening is not just about seeing the world differently. It is about becoming someone who can move through the world with clarity while others remain lost in confusion. There was a time when you searched for answers outside yourself. You looked to people, systems, and expectations to tell you who you were supposed to become. But every time you tried to follow those paths, something inside you resisted. That resistance was not weakness. It was wisdom. A deep inner awareness that refused to allow you to live a life that was never meant for you. This is why many chosen individuals go through long seasons of feeling out of place. They try different directions, different environments, different versions of themselves, yet nothing ever feels completely aligned. It is almost as if life keeps redirecting them again and again. Not because they are failing, but because they are being guided. Guided toward something more authentic. Guided toward a version of themselves that cannot exist within the limitations placed by society. And once you begin recognizing this pattern, the past starts to make more sense. The relationships that ended suddenly. The opportunities that disappeared right when you thought they were secure. The plans that fell apart despite your best efforts. At the time, those moments may have felt like setbacks. But now, you may be starting to see them from a different perspective. Sometimes the most powerful protection comes in the form of closed doors. Because not every opportunity is meant for your path. Not every connection is meant to walk with you into your future. And not every environment deserves access to the person you are becoming. This is where discernment begins to grow. Discernment is one of the strongest gifts that develops during awakening. It allows you to recognize truth even when it is hidden beneath appearances. You begin to sense intentions behind people's words. You begin to feel the energy of environments before anything is said. You begin to notice subtle signs that others completely overlook. This heightened awareness is not something to fear. It is something to protect. Because awareness becomes one of the most valuable tools you carry as you walk through the doors opening in your life. And those doors will not always look dramatic from the outside. Sometimes they appear as quiet moments of decision, a conversation that changes your direction, an idea that refuses to leave your mind, a sudden opportunity that seems to arrive out of nowhere. These moments may seem small at first, but they often become the turning points that shape the rest of your journey. What makes them powerful is not the event itself. It is the awareness you bring to it. Most people miss these turning points because they are distracted by noise, expectations, and fear of change. But those who are awake begin recognizing the signals. They understand that life often whispers before it speaks loudly. And when the whisper is heard, everything begins shifting. Another truth that many chosen individuals eventually discover is that their journey was never meant to be walked exactly like anyone else's. There will be no perfect blueprint handed to you, no simple map showing every step ahead. Instead, the path reveals itself as you move forward. Each step brings new clarity. Each experience unlocks a deeper level of understanding. And the person you become along the way becomes stronger than the person who started the journey. This is why your past challenges were so important. They were shaping the mindset you would need for the doors that are opening now. Without those lessons, you might have walked into new opportunities without the wisdom required to handle them. But now you are different. You have seen what disappointment feels like. You have experienced moments when everything seemed uncertain. You have learned how to rebuild yourself when life forced you to start again. And that resilience becomes the foundation for everything ahead. Because when powerful doors open for someone who has endured difficult seasons, they step through them with a level of gratitude and awareness that others may never fully understand. They do not take growth for granted. They do not assume opportunities will last forever. They recognize the significance of each moment. This awareness transforms how you move through life. Instead of rushing through experiences, you begin observing them. Instead of blindly trusting every path that appears, you begin questioning which ones align with your deeper purpose. Instead of fearing the unknown, you begin approaching it with curiosity. Curiosity is one of the quiet strengths of those who are awakening. It keeps the mind open. It keeps the spirit flexible. And it allows you to explore possibilities that others may dismiss too quickly. As this mindset grows within you, the doors opening in your life begin leading you toward experiences that expand your perspective even further. You may start meeting people who challenge your thinking in ways that inspire growth. You may find yourself drawn to ideas, knowledge, or paths you never considered before. You may feel a deep desire to create, to build, or to contribute something meaningful to the world around you. These impulses are not random. They are the natural result of awareness evolving. When someone begins to awaken, their priorities shift. Surface-level achievements lose their appeal. Temporary recognition feels empty. What begins to matter instead is impact, meaning, authenticity. You begin asking deeper questions about how your life can contribute something real to the world. And this question often becomes the doorway to purpose. Purpose is not always one single destination. Sometimes it unfolds through many stages. But each stage reveals another piece of who you truly are. And the doors opening in your life right now may be guiding you toward the next piece of that discovery. So as your journey continues, remain attentive to the signals around you. Remain aware of the growth happening within you. And remain open to the unexpected ways life may guide you forward. Because sometimes the greatest transformations begin quietly, long before the world ever realizes what is unfolding within you. As you move further into this awakening, another realization slowly begins to settle into your mind. The doors opening in your life are not only changing your circumstances, they are changing who you are becoming. Growth at this level is rarely comfortable. It stretches your perspective. It challenges your old beliefs. It forces you to confront parts of yourself that once stayed hidden in the background of your life. And yet, every time you face those deeper layers, you come out stronger than before. Because awakening is not about becoming perfect, it is about becoming aware. Aware of your patterns, aware of your strengths, aware of the influence you carry simply by being who you truly are. Many chosen individuals underestimate this influence. They think their journey is only about personal growth. They believe their awakening is a private transformation that affects no one else. But the truth is far greater than that. When someone begins walking in awareness, their presence alone begins to shift the energy of the environments around them. Their words carry more depth. Their actions inspire reflection in others. Even their silence begins to hold meaning. People may not always understand why they feel drawn to you. They may not be able to explain why your perspective affects them so deeply. But something about your awareness creates a ripple, and ripples eventually become waves. This is why the path of awakening often comes with a deep sense of responsibility. Not a heavy burden, but a quiet understanding that your life has the potential to influence more than just your own story. Think about the people who impacted your life the most. They were not always the loudest voices in the room. They were not always the most powerful figures in society, but something about their presence stayed with you. Their authenticity, their courage, their ability to remain true to themselves, even when the world tried to shape them into something else. Those qualities leave an imprint on others. And as you continue evolving, you may begin noticing that people around you start asking deeper questions. They begin seeking your perspective. They become curious about the way you see the world. This is not an accident. Awareness naturally attracts those who are ready to grow. But it can also make others uncomfortable. Not everyone is ready to question the structures they have relied on their entire lives. Not everyone wants to confront truths that challenge their current way of thinking. So while some people will feel inspired by your journey, others may react with resistance. They may doubt you. They may misunderstand your intentions. They may even attempt to pull you back into the version of yourself they are familiar with. This is one of the quiet tests that appears when powerful doors begin opening. Will you remain loyal to your growth, or will you shrink yourself to maintain the comfort of others? Every awakened individual faces this question at some point in their path, and the answer they choose shapes the direction of their future. Because when someone finally commits to living in alignment with their deeper awareness, something remarkable happens. Their life begins to move with a different kind of momentum. The decisions they make become clearer. The opportunities they pursue become more intentional. The connections they build become more meaningful. And slowly, the life that once felt confusing begins forming into something purposeful. But purpose rarely arrives as a single dramatic moment. Instead, it reveals itself through a series of realizations. You realize that your struggles gave you empathy. You realize that your solitude taught you independence. You realize that your questions led you to wisdom that many people spend their entire lives searching for. Each piece of your journey begins fitting together like parts of a larger design. And when you step back and look at the bigger picture, something becomes clear. Your life was never random. Even the moments that felt chaotic carried lessons that prepared you for what is unfolding now. This understanding changes the way you look at the future. Instead of fearing uncertainty, you begin trusting the process that has guided you this far. You realize that every time life removed something from your path, It eventually made space for something better aligned with who you were becoming. And now that pattern may be repeating once again. New doors are appearing. New directions are forming. New possibilities are beginning to take shape in ways you may not have expected. But with each opportunity comes a quiet invitation. An invitation to step into the next version of yourself. Because every new chapter requires a new level of courage. The person you were yesterday cannot fully live the life that is waiting for you tomorrow. You must grow into it. You must allow your mindset, your habits, and your beliefs to expand alongside the opportunities entering your life. And this expansion often begins with one simple but powerful decision. The decision to trust your own path. To stop waiting for permission. To stop measuring your journey against the expectations of others. To stop questioning whether your awareness is valid simply because it differs from the majority. Because history has shown something very clearly. The individuals who shape the future are rarely the ones who blend perfectly into the present. They are the ones who see possibilities others overlook. They are the ones who feel called to explore ideas others dismiss. They are the ones who are willing to walk through doors that most people are too afraid to open. And if you are hearing this message today, there is a strong chance that something within you already recognizes that calling. Not as an ego-driven idea, but as a quiet inner knowing. A knowing that your journey has meaning beyond what you once believed. A knowing that the experiences you have lived through were shaping you for something greater. And a knowing that the doors opening in your life right now may only be the beginning of what is possible for you. So remain aware. Remain curious. Remain courageous enough to continue moving forward even when the full path has not yet been revealed. Because sometimes the most extraordinary journeys begin when someone decides to trust the transformation happening within them.